Hey everyone, what's up? Welcome to the stream. This is the Sunset Bay 105 tutorial that I'm doing for the Wave Race 64 speedrunning community, just to kind of show the ins and outs of what makes the run work, what gets it down to 105. It is definitely one of those times that feels really good to accomplish for the first time. If you haven't done it yet, you get your first one. It's really great. The bottom of the stream here, I have the, well, underneath the screen here, I have the 5 players currently who have achieved a 105 on Sunset Bay, which are Ilu, Hayate, Shibby, myself, Lockwood, and Analog, in that order actually. From what I know, it's in that order. So basically, I'm now finally hooked up with my dual monitor display. I've got my Twitch chat and OBS up here, and you guys see entirely what's on my second display. So this will work a little bit better for me to do the tutorial with, and I can kind of show videos this way. And I already have a few pulled up that we're gonna watch. We're gonna watch my video today, unlike the last time. We're also gonna watch Hayate and Ilu's 105s, very solid ones that I think have a lot of good stuff going for them. And again, I kind of wanted to get into the first, before we start, I want to show you the settings that you're probably going to want to use. Like in the character settings, like I would go to Mariner there. I'm using the screen right here right now, and I use custom with this as my layout, but this is good too. This is what we have currently as the recommended settings, by the way. If you don't know where the recommended settings are, they are in the forum, and then recommended settings, characters, camera, etc. If you follow this, and it shows you here, we're talking about Sunset Bay. You want to play on normal difficulty. Here, that's where it will say that. 105 is of medium difficulty to accomplish, and that's in the grand scheme of things. Obviously, it's a very difficult time to accomplish, but in comparison to, say, 107 on Marine Fortress, I think Marine Fortress's 107 is going to be harder to get for the first time than Sunset Bay 105, so that's why I have it say that it's medium difficulty. And here are the recommended settings that I put. So we've got Dave Mariner, all the way to the left, all the way to the right, all the way to the right. And I just use this. It's just a small change, just one notch over. So there's that. I wanted to get up the leaderboard here. This is our current list of Sunset Bay entrants as of today, which is January 21st, 2017. We've got 51 entrants, 51 different entries for Sunset Bay. So I wanted to get into a bit of a run here. I'm not going to play, but I'm going to show you guys the videos and kind of what makes them good, you know, because that's what's going to help other players be able to get these times. So over here, first one I want to bring up, this is Hayate. So this is Hayate's 105. It's his PB. It's not his first 105, but he was a very early 105. He got it before I got mine. He was one of the first 2. And here we'll mute the, actually I'll just turn it down so you can barely hear. Sorry, I'm kind of still getting used to the dual monitor thing. So let's watch Hayate's run here.
3,
So he's got his own music behind it too. So this is the overview. When we watch it the first time, I just kind of have you watch, pay attention to the lines that he takes, pay attention to the path through the buoys, and see how he's not turning all that hard until, like, that's his hardest turn, obviously, right there. So, pretty good lap 1. He doesn't lose too much speed at the beginning of lap 2, and I'll kind of show you how he avoids losing a lot of speed at the beginning. The beginning of lap 2 is one of the hardest parts of the run. He's going to, again, take that turn really close to the wall, but not so close that he crashes into it. And a good angle on that first turn. He actually got a really good turn on all 3 laps on the first one there. And then he does the out of bounds trick. He aims for right about where you see the he aims for about right where you see the sign with the arrow on it. It's off in the distance. If you try to line up with that, that's where you want to be, really. So let's watch this again, and this time we're gonna break it down. We're gonna go a little bit slower here. We're gonna rewatch a few things. We're gonna play it in like slow-mo. So let's speed this down to half speed. And I've turned the volume off of that. So here we go. Half speed. So the first thing you want to do, really, when you're starting here, is go to the left. Like, see, watch his first little movement. He's going right to the left, like right away, and he wants to do that because he wants to avoid this wave or be right on the left seam of it. So again, watch this. He's turning just slightly left, and he kind of lines up with the inside of that wave. And then he's got this line pretty good. He starts turning, and then he's going to do this sharp turn close to the wall, but he's going to do it so that it's not so sharp that he's coming out of the turn like facing the ramp. He's coming out of the turn facing the boat. Like, not the ramp, but the boat. Like, watch again. So taking this turn, starting the turn a little bit early, and then edging onto the turn and coming out facing the boat. And then he's going to turn around this, and watch how he keeps most of his speed here. Like, one of the really hard things to do on this level is maintain a lot of speed around this ramp. You can do it with 122 kilometers per hour around the ramp, but you have to be super on your game, and you have to keep a really tight path. Alright, so comes out facing this boat, and then he's going to slightly turn left. He's trying to gain speed. And then here we go. We're going to stop here because this is important. Now we're to the wave section, and what you do not want to do is smash into the wave a bunch of times. Like, you don't want to smash really hard. What you want to do is like skim on top of the waves. And you can push B, and that'll accelerate how fast you move down. And you want to use that so that you can like push B when you want to go down, and when it is going to skim on the top of the wave. You don't want to crash into the front of the wave, really. So let's watch how Hayate does his. He's just coming out of this turn. He's facing the boat, and now he's going to turn around this ramp. He's going to try to keep a lot of speed. You don't want that to be like a V. You want that to be like a U. Alright, and Hayate's doing well. I would say when you are coming out of the wave section, like on the third wave, I would push forward for a second so that you don't launch out of the water. Like, push forward on the joystick. I mean like that, like up on the joystick. And what that's going to do is it's going to prevent you from flying out of the water after this wave. because you want to try to stick to the water here. This is where you're going to start gaining speed. But if you launch out of the water at this part, you're going to lose a bunch of speed that you would have gotten if you didn't do that. So try to prevent yourself from coming out of the water on the last wave, and do that by pushing forward and mashing B like a couple of times, like just a couple of quick times. I'm still holding the controller. Whoops. All right. So let's watch Hayate come around that ramp and then do the wave section again. Here we go. He's coming around the ramp. He's straightening out here over the waves. 1, 2, and then push forward so that you don't launch up off of the water again there. Alright, he's going to keep it relatively straight, but he starts his turn so early because this is like that whole line section that he just did here. I'll do it again. This whole line section from here all the way to this turn is like one big turn. So watch how he's doing it just ever so slightly. He's leaning left like this whole time. Leaning left, leaning left, leaning left, and then really leaning left at this part. So I would say he's more focused on, like, at this point already, he's going to start turning left, and he's going to keep that turn partial, like a partial turn the entire line there, all the way until that really sharp turn towards the end of the lap. And this is half speed still, leaning left, keeping this speed over 120 most of that whole straightaway there, and then he's really leaning into the turn because he wants to get to about like here. He's gonna get to this part, and then when he does, he'll start his turn around that yellow buoy up in the distance. But here we go. Start that turn early because you want to grip the water and be like going. You know, you want to be going to the right up ahead. So let's watch that wave section here. It's going to bounce, skim, skim. You know you're skimming because you won't drop 100. Like, Hayate in his run, he was like 106 at his slowest over the waves. Like, watch that again. 118, 120, 24, 118, 109, 106, and then it touches 104 for like one frame. He never went under 100. That's how you want it to look. Alright, and then really tight on this turn, and then let it even out so that you're aiming here. And then turn sharp. Here we go. He drops 100, but you can actually do it without dropping 100. Here we go. On the beginning of lap 2, I told this to Gilly Guy. At the beginning of lap 2, what you want to do is you want to get to about this part where my mouse is, where my cursor is. When you get to that part, you're going to want to take just a very slight left. When you take this left, it's going to get you around this yellow buoy here, but you don't want to take that left early because if you do, you're going to touch some sand up here. So you avoid that sand, and Hayate does a good job of avoiding it. He's going, and now he's left right there because you want to. What you're avoiding with that, with the sand I'm talking about. Here, let me see if I can find the perfect spot where you can see it. See it? Oh shit! Sorry, I didn't mean to swear, but I didn't mean to make it go big like that either. All right, so here we go. Left. Getting around this shallow area here. He wants to avoid that because if he avoids it successfully, he'll keep like 122 as his speed. That's a great speed. You want to keep that because then you're gonna keep like a good bobbing animation so that everything will stay as optimal as it can. What I mean by that is, like, whenever you lose speed, your cycle changes for like your up and down bobbing. I can't explain it a whole lot further than that. Like, it's just, if you can maintain speed, you're more likely to get a run that you're going to be more satisfied with. And it will be easier to get because you won't have to get used to a new bobbing pattern. So here we go. He's going left, and he gets around that. He's gonna, once he's gone left, he wants to like start going straight at that part because now he wants to get to this turn. And you're going to start turning around this wall a little bit early, like around this area. Like, watch when he starts going. and then turn. Like that's where Hayate is starting his turn, like right here, and really close to the wall. Try to come out facing the boat, but he's gonna have to be careful to make it to the left of this buoy. That can be a problem sometimes too. You want to take that left so that you're coming out facing this boat, and if you do that successfully, you'll always be on the left of this yellow buoy. You'll always be fine. So back to this. He's gonna take another slight left around this thing. Let's see if he can keep 120. Yeah, he was at like 120 and 122 around the ramp. But if you can do that, you're gonna have good speed going into the wave section. So it'll be easier to skim the waves at a higher speed. So here we go, 122. Here we go with the skim. 1, 2, and then landing and pushing forward so that he doesn't jump way out of the water. Try to implement that. I know it's kind of hard, and pushing forward makes it really awkward to turn after that. But if you just push forward lightly for like half a second, then you are going to be fine. You're not going to jump out of the water, and you're going to be able to turn decently well when you're ready to turn around this thing. So backing this up to the waves. He'll keep like 122, 124, and then he hits the waves. Bam. 2. Low speed was a frame of 102. I saw a low speed of 102. That's good. And then this was like a whole same section as lap 2, where he's got a lot of speed and he's just gradually turning around that whole section. And then here we go. Lap number 3. Pretty much the same as lap number 2. He goes straight out there at first, and then he takes that left around the shallow part and making it to the left of that buoy. Let's watch that section right there again. So this is that end of lap 2 where we're doing that gradual turn around the whole back section. Gradual turn, getting up to 120 plus. Getting up to like 124, and then he's doing this sharp turn. Now he's going to aim for this area. And then taking a right. Taking the right, and then he's going to come out way... It looks like he's going to be too far to the right, right? So he'll take that left about halfway through. He's good. And now start the turn. And Hayate is so good at that turn. He comes out with like barely any room between him and the wall. It's a really good turn. So lap 3 wave section. Try really hard to skim the top of the waves. Hayate did it without losing 100 on any of his 3 laps. And then here we are with the shortcut. So let's go back to that wave section. I'll just do a quick explanation again of that, because this one's a little bit different. Usually you're going to be a little bit further behind the wave cycle going into lap 3. So sometimes what you can do to kind of adjust your bob is at this point just pull back on the joystick just for a half second, not even, because that'll ride you up to the top of the wave a little bit, and then neutral, and then you're just gonna tap B like right about here so that you go back down on top of this wave, on the very top of it, and skim, and then here you're just gonna press B a few times or 4 times, and you do that so that you're doing the stabilizing motion, and you push forward so that he doesn't jump out of the water a 4th time. And then here we go, take this turn, and this turn, I want to just explain this turn a little bit because I haven't during the rest of the explanation here. You can take this turn really close to the wall as long as you are turning. Like, you cannot go really close to this wall without turning. There's an element of this game where you can avoid things by turning toward them. And this is a good example because it's at this angle. Actually, here, this angle, you see that angle? It goes like from my arm down, like same angle, like right here. Like if you're turning like around this and your jet ski is like angled, And you can actually get around this really well. And that's what Hayate takes advantage of here. He's like turning his jet ski away from the underwater part of this wall. So he's able to go really close to it without touching it, and then he's got like this nice line coming through this area where he doesn't have to touch the joystick much. He's probably what he's doing is just like tapping a little bit. Well, I guess he would be tapping left here just once in a while just to keep the lean. You know, he's keeping the lean a little bit there, and he's tapping B to keep it stable. And here, let's watch the finish here. So he's tapping left and B here. Oops. And then here we go. So this can actually be one of the toughest parts, because when you're ahead, you get nervous about this shortcut. And I do too. You basically have to go really close to this wall, and it will probably help you if you start your turn just ever so slightly, like right here. This is where Hayate does it. So he's going to have plenty of room to go wide. But what he does is he looks like he's going to go wide, but it makes it so that he can keep a lot of speed on this turn. And he ends up really close to the wall. And then here we go. Like, this is the peak of the turn. This is the sharpest part of the turn. And then you want to level out and line up with this sign. You see the sign by my cursor? That's where you're lining up. So here it goes. He's lining it up. And just go straight. Just go straight as early as you can, because that's how you're going to get the most speed. Just go straight into this area and finishes with a 105.5, which I believe is a that's third place right now. Yep, that's third place. So good job to Hayate with that run. Now, just to see the whole thing, why don't we watch the whole thing again? And I'll turn up the speed here back to normal. Here we go. So Hayate going left of the first buoy and making sure not to go too far into the shallow area. Keeping speed around the ramp, skimming the top of the waves, forward, here we go. Arcing this section here. A sharp turn, keeping about 75 miles per hour, or kilometers per hour. Then lap 2, remember, try to keep speed through the beginning of lap 2 just by going straight and then slightly left. Skimming the tops of these waves here and turning really close to that wall, but since he was turning, he was safe. Lap 3, take that left on the straightaway, line it up, turn really close to that wall, come out facing the boat. Doing like 120 around the ramp. Skimming the top of the waves, and Hayate here, he'll start his final turn, go close to the wall, and then line up with the sign for the finish. And he finishes with a personal best lap as well, so pretty good stuff to him. And now I want to show Ilu's, because it's pretty similar and pretty good also. Definitely a good 105, and it's on the same frame actually as Hayate's is. So Ilu goes to the left, like I said. Remember, at the beginning you want to line up with the left a little bit so that you go to the left of the first wave. Ilu trying to skim the tops of those waves. He kept a pretty good amount of his speed, over like 108 over the waves. Ilu again going first like straight out after the finish line, and then making that adjustment to the left so that he avoids hitting the sand, and he makes sure he goes by that buoy. So that wave section didn't go too well for Ilu because he hit some of the waves pretty hard and bounced. But overall, Ilu makes up for it in his turning and his like high speeds on his straightaways. Come out of that turn facing the boat, and that was a really tight turn, really close to the ramp. Then the final turn, Ilu lines up pretty much with the same part of the level. He lines up perfectly with the sign. So definitely a good run there for Ilu as well. And tonight I will show my video too, because it's really recent and I've been paying a lot of attention to the even finer details, and I'll see if I can point these out. This would have been from my stream last week, and it's the first 105.5 or 105.1 low frame. I had gotten the high frame one before, but let's watch that, and I'll turn the sound on for that. So go left here. I actually tap forward a little bit at the beginning as well, so that I make sure to keep the jet ski in the water 100%. Keeping over 120 on that. And I'm trying to fling myself over the final wave. If I can fling myself over that final wave, then I'm actually going to have more speed. Starting to turn a little bit early and going really close to the wall. Arcing this so that I can stay over 120 around the ramp. This arc turn, here we go, really sharp there. And then I'm trying to keep a lot of my speed around that last buoy. So I make my turn pretty close to the buoy, and I make it so that I don't have to take a huge angle. I try to round it out as much as possible. And then the final turn, trying to keep 100, and I did keep 100 around the final turn that time. And that's it. It's basically how I can explain how to get 104, or 103, I mean. So, yeah. I know that there will be some more players who have 105. It's only a matter of time. Probably won't be all that long, if you ask me. It'll, especially now that we have this video, which can be used as a resource. I mean, if I can give any tips about the course, definitely don't let yourself get too frustrated and quit. It will take quite a bit of time. It's one of the really difficult times to accomplish on a level in Wave Race, is getting one of the benchmark times, and that's what 105 is on this one. If benchmark times were easy to get, I wouldn't make a tutorial to get it either. So remember, I highly recommend a few other things too. Like if you can rubber band your Z button down, that'll help you. You can use A to get max power, and then you won't have to worry about holding A or holding throttle of any kind. Z will do the trick for you. And then you can just focus on the B button. So that's what I do with my main controller. This is my backup. Yep. So remember the beginning. I will always watch people do the beginning of Sunset Bay wrong. You need to turn left right away just a little bit at the beginning, and then ride the seam of the wave. And if you go straight from that point, on lap 1 anyway, if you go straight from that seam, you'll have a really good angle for that turn. But that's basically how to get 105, and as you play, you're going to learn little things that will help you further that I can't fit in like a half-hour, 40-minute tutorial video. So if I missed anything that would have been important, let me know. I'll try to include it in my future videos. Next up we have Drake Lake 111. And I'm not the master of Drake Lake, but I've gotten more 111s than most people, so I think I'll be able to explain it pretty well. And I hope that I explained this one pretty well. But thank you for watching. Hope you have a good rest of your night.